Welcome back to DangerVille residents. How you doing? Good? Good. I'm back with a lofty bit of news for you. We have two quick things to cover, one being Godzilla related and the other being huge news for fans of monster films. But it could end up being the biggest and most terrifying monster in Kaiju history. First off, Shout Factory TV has revealed that John Carpenter, the horror mastermind behind The Thing and Halloween, will be doing a Godzilla marathon, where he goes and introduces all the classics during a Masters of Monsters weekend. Between the 3rd and 6th of November, Carpenter will introduce the original 1954 Godzilla, Rodan, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, and War of the Gargantuas, all classic fan favorite Toho Kaiju films. Carpenter has been a Godzilla fan for his whole life, and it's criminal that his Godzilla vs. Gorgo fan film has never been released. Who cares if it's unbelievably terrible? I want to see it. But this will have to do for now. Maybe we'll hear some more about it. One film will be screened per day at 6 and 8 PM US PT time, so for you Americans, I hope you have fun. Us in Europe will just have to suffer again. Now on to the big news. Now, we're a little bit late on this, so apologies if you've already heard it, but the biggest monster movie of 2008 is getting a sequel. Yes, Cloverfield is finally getting a proper follow-up. Announced by The Hollywood Reporter, J.J. Abrams' production company, Bad Robot Productions, will be producing the film, and it'll be directed by Babak Anvari, who previously worked on horror thrillers Under the Shadow, Wounds, and I Came By. The original Cloverfield was directed by Matt Reeves on a budget of $25 million. It was a found-footage-styled film and followed a group of 20-something-year-old New Yorkers as they try to navigate the city during an attack by a giant monster. And spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen it, it ends with some of the lead characters being eaten by Clover, and the monster is supposedly killed by bombs, which unfortunately kills off the remaining leads. But famously during the credits, if you reverse the audio, someone says, "It's still alive."
It's still alive.
Which was always so creepy to me when I was a kid. If any of you residents were there for like 2008 YouTube, this was pretty much all anyone talked about. Now, after 14 years since the original release, we'll finally be able to see Clover again and find out what happened after the bombs fell. It's unclear whether the sequel will follow through with the found footage style of the original, or whether it'll be something more cinematic. All we know is that it will be about the Cloverfield monster and who will be directing it. We also know Matt Reeves will be returning to the film, but as an executive producer this time, which basically means he's invested in the film and has a say in what happens, which hopefully means he can steer the film in the right direction alongside the director. There's a few possibilities on what the film will be about. Either it continues directly after the first film ends and we'll see the monster continue its rampage, or after the bombing, the monster returns to the ocean, and over a decade later, it rises up out of the ocean after growing to an even bigger scale to wreak havoc once again. Funnily enough, there's actually two existing Cloverfield sequels, 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was about survivors bunkering down during an alien invasion, which has nothing to do with the giant monster, and the Cloverfield Paradox, which was about astronauts testing out a device that was meant to produce unlimited energy, only to send them to a dark alternate universe. We actually see the Cloverfield monster at the end of that film, and he's grown to an astronomical size, with shoulders able to breach the clouds. Whilst the original Clover stood at 250 to 300 feet tall, this one stands potentially at 20,328 feet tall, and there's a chance it's even larger. This would make it the biggest and most terrifying monster to ever appear on screen. Large enough to crush skyscrapers and flatten cities just by walking through them. It's maybe a bit overkill, although I really doubt we'll see the monster return at this size in the sequel. This seems to have been more of a shock tactic to make the film connect to the original Cloverfield in some way, even if it makes no sense. But I'm super hyped to see this classic monster return to screens. I have hope that Bad Robot can do justice to Cloverfield and make the fans that have eagerly awaited 14 years happy. Who knows, maybe someday we'll get a Cloverfield vs. Godzilla movie. I mean, it's unlikely, but just let me dream. Since this was just announced, I don't expect it to release until at the earliest 2024, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came out as late as 2025. But to keep up to date on the film and everything monster related, subscribe and stomp the notification button to become a resident of DangerVille today. With Cloverfield returning, what do you hope happens in the story? And how big would you want the monster to be? Let us know in the comment section down below. If you want DangerVille to explore other monsters, then leave a like, because it lets us know what you want to see more of. I've been Alistair, and we'll see you, residents, in the next one.